Hello. So we are going to be combining our work with the minus b formula for solving quadratics with rearranging quadratic equations with fractions. So we're going to be combining the work from the last several sessions. So if we're given an equation like this and we're asked to solve for x, in this case it gives you a little bit more hand-holding. It tells you you're going to end up using the minus b formula, but in general they could give you a question like this on the exams and ask you to solve for x. So that's what we are going to do. Anytime we have fractions in an equation, we're going to try and get rid of those fractions, and the way that we're going to do that is figure out what the lowest common multiple is, or the lowest common denominator of our denominators is, and that is going to be, we have x plus 1, x minus 3, and 1 are our denominators. So what would be the lowest common denominator, or the lowest common multiple of them? That would be x plus 1 by x minus 3. And we don't generally bother writing in by 1, though you can if you want. So now what we're going to do is multiply both sides of our equation by the lowest common denominator, and that's going to get rid of our fractions for us. So I am going to multiply both sides of my equation by my lowest common denominator. X plus 1 by x minus 3. So when I do that, multiply what is outside by the bracket by each thing inside, I'm going to end up with x plus 1 on x minus 3 by 1 all over x plus 1 plus x plus 1 by x minus 3 by 2 all over x minus 3. And I'm going to get 4 by x plus 1 by x minus 3. So all I've done is multiply both sides of my equation by my lowest common denominator, or the lowest common multiple of my denominators. Now what I can see here that makes my life easier, and the reason why I did that, is that I am now able to get rid of all of my fractions, because if I look in each of these fractions, I am going to be able to divide out the denominator. I have x plus 1 on the top here, multiplied by everything, all over x plus 1. So I can divide out those common factors, top and bottom, and I can do the same thing with x minus 3 here. I divide out my common factors, top and bottom. Now, there's no fraction here this time, so we don't need to worry about that. We don't have a fraction here. So now, what am I left with? I have x minus 3 by 1 plus x plus 1 by 2 is equal to 4 on x plus 1 on x minus 3. And now I can start to work through my multiplying out fractions. Sorry, multiplying out brackets. I've gotten rid of my fractions. So I have what is outside the bracket, the number outside the bracket gets multiplied by each thing inside. I can do this in either order I like. I like to put my number multiplied in first. So I have x by 1 is minus 3 by 1 is minus 3, 2 by x is 2x, 2 by 1 is 2, is equal to 4 by x is 4x, 4 by 1 is 4, and it's still all multiplied by x minus 3. So all of this is multiplied by x minus 3. You can see either the 4 was multiplied by everything here and the x plus 1 was multiplied by everything here. So we still have brackets around here. We're multiplying all of this together. Now I can simplify these terms here. I can see that I have pure numbers and I have stuff involving x. So on this side I'm going to end up with 3x minus 1. And here I need to multiply out my brackets, and a reminder of how to do that. The first thing in the first bracket multiplied by the second bracket. The second thing in the first bracket multiplied by the second bracket. Same way as we always multiply them out. We have 4x multiplied by x minus 3 plus 4 multiplied by x minus 3. Same deal as before. What is outside the bracket we multiply by each thing inside. So we keep rewriting 3x minus 1 for now, and we have 4x squared minus 12x plus 4x minus 12. We see we have some like terms here. 3x minus 1 is equal to 4x squared minus 8x minus 12. Now I see at this stage that I've got a quadratic. Well, how do I solve a quadratic? I get everything equals 0. So I'm going to rearrange my equation to get everything equals 0. So I have minus 3x from this side, minus 3x from this side, plus 1 to this side, plus 1 to this side, and that will leave me with 0 on this side, which is what I want for a quadratic equation. 4x squared minus 11x minus 11. Now, in the question, it tells you you're going to need to use the minus b formula, and the way that it does it is it tells you to give your answer to 2 decimal places. Because it tells you that, you know automatically that you should try the minus b formula. If it tells you to give an answer for a quadratic to 2 decimal places or any decimal places, it means that you're going to end up using the minus b formula. They could also say, give your answer in surd form, so leave the square root in it, and that would also mean we'd use the minus b formula. So they've tipped us off that we're using the minus b formula by asking for our answer to 2 decimal places. So a reminder of our minus b formula, which is in your log tables, but you really need to know it by heart. And that formula only works if we have our equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So x squared term, then x term, then a constant number without an x is equal to 0. And we've already gotten that arrangement here. We have 4x squared minus 11x minus 11 is equal to 0. So our a is the number in front of x squared, which is going to be 4. Our b is the number in front of x, which is going to be minus 11. And our c is the number on the end, which is also minus 11. We now have everything we need to sub into this formula. So we have x is equal to minus 11 plus or minus. Everything that you sub in goes in brackets, always. That's not just for the minus b formula, that's always what we do. B squared, so minus 11 squared, minus 4 multiplied by a is 4, by minus 11, all over. 2 multiplied by a is 4. Now if I tidy that up, I can put everything underneath the square root. So this part only I can put into my calculator and simplify it. So this part only goes in your calculator, and we will get 33 root 3. So the square root only goes into your calculator, and it will simplify it down for you to make life easier. Now, we know from getting our quadratics before that we should get 2 answers, and our plus or minus here is how we're going to get those 2 answers. We draw a line down our page, we have x is equal to 11 plus 3 root 33 all over 8, or x is equal to 11 minus 3 root 33 all over 8. So plus or minus, plus or minus. And now this stuff can all go into the calculator. As an aside, if it had asked you for your answer in surd form means leave the square roots as they are. So that means that this would be your final answer in this case if it had asked you for your answer in surd form. But it asked us for it to 2 decimal places. So we're going to do that. When we put that into our calculator, we get 3.5292. Rounding to 2 decimal places, that's going to be 3.53. And likewise here, I have minus 0.7792. X is equal to, rounding to 2 decimal places, minus 0.78. And those are my 2 answers, my 2 values of x that solve this original equation. And those are the skills that we need for right now.